Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth.
And danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings.
Sunward I've climbed, and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds.
And done 100 things you have not dreamed of.
These are the voyages of the starship Erebus. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Flights of stairs. I was walking around constantly,
all the time.
Okay.
like walking across the building and shit, and then that just stopped, and I was moving 20 feet in a day. Hello, everybody.
That's great.
Oh, are we on?
Yeah, and we're live.
Hi.
One of my
Can you put a
favorite
red
things.
light up?
No, one of my favorite things to do is when like there's a conversation going. I'm running the intro, and I just let it keep going. Like it just because then it shows to the audience like we're real people, right? You know, it shows to ourselves we're the only ones watching.
I'll have you know,
I'm not a real person.
I'm a husk of a person, but
I'm not a real person, but I do play.
Wow, this got really depressing. Anyway, so with that being said, welcome everyone to the much anticipated.
I'm a heuristic algorithm.
Super long overdue. Let me just mute Matthew really quick, and he wasn't even talking. I'm just gonna mute him anyway, just because he's so sad. I just don't want to share that with anyone. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, man.
You have to pay premium to get the sad.
For the premium sad content, just please, or whatever if you want to. I don't care.
Stay for the sad.
I can't breathe. That's really funny. I'm dying. I'm dying. All right, anyway, but welcome everyone to much anticipated, not too long overdue, because we've been super consistent. I myself have not been streaming much lately, so this is a show and a series that I really look forward to every 2 weeks, and I'm very excited to have our core group back. I do want to give a quick shout out to our 2 guest stars, Mimi, Sidereal Day, and Bri, the server mod guy, for guest starring two sessions in a row, which was super awesome, and I really enjoyed those sessions. I thought everyone did a great job. But we've got our core group back, and I'm very excited to see what they do with tonight's session, which is entitled The Beat of My Heart, and we'll figure out exactly what that means, hopefully, over the next 2 to 3 hours. But without further ado, let's go around the table, have everyone reintroduce themselves. We're going to go crisscross applesauce. We'll go with Matthew, Aaron, Drew, Schmandy, and C4A. Take it away.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew. I play the civilian science officer and Enar Shas Chathane.
And hey guys, I'm Aaron. I'm playing the Andorian commanding officer, Captain Ishruth.
How's it going? I'm Drew. I'm playing the android, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, the chief engineer.
Hi folks, I'm Schmandy. I am playing the Klingon security officer, Lieutenant Phelan.
Hey, I'm C4A, and I am playing the human doctor, Lieutenant Commander Lisbeth Stern.
Really human though? I mean, she's German. Anyway, moving on. So let's.
She's a dancer.
She's a dancer. I don't.
Are they human? Are they human or are they dancers?
Are they dancers? Oh, okay, I get it. It took me a second. I'm old. My bones don't work anymore, nor my brain. But anyway,
your brain bones.
Bleep bloop. So with that being said, of course, I am Darewolf, the game master. Thrilled to be here. I play everyone else, all the NPCs. I had considered doing an opening log tonight, and I've decided instead we're just going to do a bit of a cold open, because we haven't done a cold open yet. We've always had some sort of opening log, so I'd like to just open the scene. So our first scene opens with, as we often do, an exterior shot of the Erebus. It appears to be at some degree of warp. We see the streaks of light going by it, the stars in the distance, and the ship itself looks almost like it's been recently cleaned. There's this kind of glimmer about the hull, this sort of sheen to it. It almost looks, at times, as we watch the ship traveling at warp, almost to be like an impressionist painting. It is strange at first to see it, but as we zoom in on to the ship, we begin to hear, we hear nothing at first, and then we very, very quietly at first start to hear this thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. And for the discerning ear, it would sound like a heartbeat. It would sound like a very calm, collected heartbeat. This thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. And we zoom in through the ship. We once again phase through a number of decks where we see but do not hear different members of the crew walking about. We perhaps see Lieutenant Phelan working with some of his security personnel, doing some drills and whatnot. We see Lieutenant Commander Flitz in main engineering having a intellectual conversation, perhaps with one of his lieutenants. We see Shathane, Shaz, Shathane, right? Am I saying it right? I always fuck it up. We
You're
see
fine.
Shaz. I'm a terrible person. We see the non-Starfleet guy who kind of sucks. And is mean to everybody. I'm just kidding. We see Shaz, perhaps playing his musical instrument in the arboretum, as it were, and we see the captain, perhaps trying out. We see him in his office, in his little ready room, with several different cups of coffee and a very energetic and emotive first officer, seeming to, but in silence, explain the different types of coffee. And there's little creamers in front of it, and he's just like motioning to each of them. But we don't stop there. We then go all the way down into sort of the midsection of the ship, the medical bay. Go to the medical bay where we see Lieutenant Commander Stern sitting or standing, your choice, next to a very new member of the crew, Ardal. And she has a stethoscope, like an old style stethoscope, and has it in her ears, and she is listening to her own heartbeat, just listening to it. And she has this sort of inquisitive look on her face. There's this very small hint of a smile as she listens to the rhythm. And we hear this thump thump, thump thump, thump thump, finally loud, as though we were hearing it through our own stethoscope, as though the actual little nodules were in our ears, right? We hear it, and then that heartbeat seems to fade away, and we can hear the sounds of the medical bay, the sort of the buzzing, a little bit of whirling here and there, some footsteps around, maybe some tricorders going off, perhaps even a cough of someone who's fighting a little bit of an illness. But as she slowly takes out the stethoscope from her ears and she holds it in her hand, she looks over Lieutenant Commander Stern and she asks, is it always the same rhythm, that dump dump, dump dump, or does it change?
You have the 4 chambers of the heart. You've got a left and right ventricle and an atrium. And for the most part, it does stay the same rhythm, unless you are exerting yourself, such as exercise, or perhaps an adrenaline rush will make it beat faster, but it will always stay the 2 beats.
She seems to mull this over. She makes her lips kind of small, almost chewing on her bottom lip for a moment. And she then takes the stethoscope, sets it on the little bed. She's like sitting on the edge with her legs over the edge of one of the little medical beds. It's just maybe a routine checkup, nothing crazy. She's not ill or anything like that. But she's sitting there. She considers, is there anything else that might make it beat faster, perhaps?
I mean, there's a strong emotions, sure, that can cause you to initiate your fight or flight, but are you experiencing any pain here? Anything out of what should be normal?
She mulls that over again. What you've noticed about her, Lieutenant Commander Stern, is every time she goes to respond to something, a question asked of her, she seems to take a considerable amount of foresight, amount of time, I would say, before she responds. She, when she first arrived, was very energetic, but over the last say, several weeks that you've been traveling, she's become somewhat quiet, not reserved, not sad, but she seems to be changing. And you've noticed that there is an almost mirroring to your kind of own quietness. It's almost as though she is parroting you as a person, perhaps because she herself, perhaps, isn't sure who she is. That would be the assessment that I think you could very easily have in this moment. But as she pauses to think about that, she says, I I don't think that there is. I simply don't know what to think. I find myself, and you watch as her hand goes up, places it over her chest, and you can see she starts to breathe ever so slightly. It is almost reminiscent of that moment where the cat doctor walked in on you having a panic attack underneath the desk, right? And you can see her starting to ever so slightly breathe a little bit, and you can tell, likely her heart is starting to beat a little faster. And she says, find myself thinking of, well, thinking of my home and thinking of the fact that I may never see it again, and that it might already be gone, and that I am the only one left of anyone, of everything, and the responsibility. And she starts to go on this kind of little tangent, and she starts to just stumble over her words and hyperventilate. And I would say in this moment, Lieutenant Commander Stern, you determine how intense it is or not, but you are seeing yourself at perhaps one of your worst moments. It is like looking into a mirror, and I'm curious what you would do in this situation, how you would handle this.
Well, first and foremost, her, I guess, patient would come first. So she would ask if, kind of like wordlessly, like take her hands and then have her run through the 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, taste, smell, touch, whatnot, just a general calming down, and have her mimic my breathing. Meanwhile, kind of in the back of Stern's brain, she's just like, kind of all neurons are firing, just like, this is really fucking surreal, and I wish that, or Stern wishes that she could allow people to help her like she's helping our doll right now.
Very good. Give me a presence medicine, if you would. I'm going to do difficulty 0. I'd like to get you guys some momentum up front, because I think the way you describe that is brilliant. So I don't want you to fail this. Unless you roll a 20, I guess. But difficulty 0, 2 20s. Well, you made it worse. Can you imagine? I hope not. Ah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, sister. Absolutely brilliant. Well played. So you have 3 momentum on the board. Well done, everyone. Well done. Well, specifically Lieutenant Commander's turn. As you go through the 5 things you can see, 5 things you can touch, etc., her breathing slows down. And again, she is not a mirrored copy of you, but there's obviously a tremendous amount of similarity between the two of you. The white hair, the length of hers is obviously shorter than Stern's, but there is definitely a similarity, like a sister
Eyes,
or a cousin.
shape.
Exactly,
Yeah.
everything. So she looks up to you, and it is again like you are looking at yourself. And she was trembling for a moment, but you can see that the trembling has stopped, and she is holding on to your hands, her hands kind of over yours under hers, holding on to them, right? And she looks up to you and she says, How how do you do it? You made the choice to come out here, so far away from everything you know, everyone you have ever loved. How? Why?
I did it because I didn't have any other choice. everyone that was familiar to me was taken away from me. So out here, I have learned how to make myself new, and I'm still working on that. But keeping busy is another thing I do for myself. But and it sounds like an old Terran hallmark, which means just good feelings. But I just have to keep telling myself that it will get better.
She squeezes your hands a little tighter. What do you do, Lieutenant Commander? What do you do to stay busy?
I should also add that no, it's not always good. Sometimes I have bad days as well, and that's okay. You are allowed to have big feelings. You are allowed to have bad days. But things you can do in the meantime, you can find a hobby. You can meet other people you are working with and perhaps find what some of their interests are and try them for yourself. Or you can immerse yourself in the work. There's always plenty to do around here, and she'll gesture to the sick bay around them. And at Harak, who is getting suspiciously closer to that one guy who's coughing, he's like,
She will.
I was going to say at the
yeah, go please.
at the mention of her like trying to identify things to see, she spots him like crawling across the ceiling towards that patient.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Fucking weird guy.
that takes a good chunk of her attention. Like,
What the hell?
okay.
She will actually smile a little bit at Harak climbing across the ceiling, kind of breaking the moment. That's brilliant.
Good.
And she will look down at the stethoscope and then look over at the young ensign who is fighting from apparently a bad case of the flu.
Fighting for his life now.
Yeah, apparently.
Barack recommends amputation.
Okay, that's not. I don't think I need that. And in fact, you know what? Ardal will actually hop off the bench and say, "I think a simple inoculation would likely help him. Thank you, doctor." And then she's gonna go over and make sure Harak doesn't eat that patient. I think that'll be a good moment. Absolutely. And as this is happening, the doors of the medical bay will open, and in will walk I would like to see in walking would be the first officer. But we're going to leave the scene there, okay? We're just going to leave the scene there. He's walking in, okay, which is cool. But we're also going to pivot up. We're going to pivot all the way up to the captain's ready room, where also the first officer is still explaining that there is that there are several different types of coffee. All right, so now this one right here, Captain. This one right here, buddy. All right, sir. Excuse me, sir. All right, this one right here. Yeah, okay, so this one is actually a Brazilian blend. All right, it's a mixture of several different coffee beans. They actually dry age the coffee beans. Now, just to give this a smell. And he like shoves the bag like into your nose. It's very pungent.
The odor is not palatable.
Yes, it's fine. It's better once it's actually, but you have to do it at 180 degrees. Okay, 180 degrees. That's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. If you do it on Celsius, it's not gonna work. All right, it's not gonna work. It's got to be Fahrenheit. I know. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Commander, nobody has used Fahrenheit for centuries.
If you want to drink coffee the right way, you do. All right. So anyway, so we're moving on. So right. Okay. So this next one here. All right. This one, and he goes down the list of like 4 different coffees. He goes, now the most important part though is not necessarily just the coffee, not just the coffee. Okay. Okay, Captain. That's coffee. It's the cream. It's the cream, which always rises to the top. Always rises to the top, right? So it's about the cream, right? So we got to get this cream. So we got several different. You got so good, man. I love that you have Macho Man right after the cream. It always rises to the
I'm
top.
literally wearing a Macho Man
Brilliant.
shirt.
That's absolutely brilliant. Didn't see it. That's what. Oh yeah. All right. So no, but
Oh,
he's like it always
yeah.
rises, and he goes down the
Is
list.
he going to stir the coffee with a Slim Jim?
No, but maybe. That'd be silly. No, but he goes down this list of different coffees, and my question to you,
The
Captain.
Twizzler, duh.
My question to you, Captain. Do you like any of them? And I'd like you to tell me if you do. Which one do you like?
Obviously, the civet one.
You know what? We'll keep it on brand because he's Andorian. He likes the cold brew.
Ooh. Okay. All right. All right. So it's a cold brew. Do you want to get more specific, or is it just any cold brew that the captain likes?
Let's see. I don't know. I don't drink that much coffee in my real life, so.
All right. See, like the
Peppermint flavored, obviously.
Pumpkin spice, make him
You
basic.
know what? You know what? Oh no, not pumpkin spice. But
Starbucks,
how
next generation.
about this? A cold brew Vulcan mint tea,
Ooh.
because according to TNG, Vulcans have a thing that they call mint, but humans would not call it mint. And so whatever that tastes like, that's what he's into in his cold brew coffee.
I like that. He's like so the first officer sits back and he looks at you and he's just like, I knew it. I knew that was going to be the one. That's why I gave it to you last. I wanted you to at least try the others, Captain. I want you to at least try the others, sir. But I knew it. I knew that was going to be the one. It just fits you, Captain. Absolutely, just fits you. And also, I just wanted to say, sir, thanks for weeks back for humoring me with the
Right, the
with the
fraternization.
yeah. I'm sorry, what?
And well, we got together outside of work and hung
Oh,
out
oh
as
yes. Oh, that yes.
that
Sorry, I thought
kind
you
of
meant
no, not the other
something
kind of
different. Right.
fraternization.
Okay. That's yes. Okay.
The
'Cause
platonic
that has gone
kind.
nowhere. Which is fine. You know,
I'm
it's mostly my fault. I mean, it is.
sorry to hear that.
Don't be sorry. It's fine. I am. You know, it's just
Did
me
you-
and Lieutenant Phelan. We just I thought it would work out, and it didn't go where. He just starts laughing.
Did you want to talk about it?
No, absolutely not, Captain. What I do want
Alright.
to talk about is this structure, and he's going to pull out a data pad, swipe it, send over the information to your console there,
Yeah.
and
The
kind of
captain's gonna just be like sipping the cold brew while he's like tapping on the console.
Yep. So, as you guys are looking at the data, so the data
Are these mass readings correct? Because this is massive.
as far as I know, sir. I mean, excuse me for being unprofessional. I've been a little bit too, I guess, at ease, sir. But based on the readings that we have, it looks to be the size of almost the entire system itself. I mean, if what we're picking up is correct, which, based on what I've been told by Shaz, that's the issue. Our sensors are reading it. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's huge, sometimes it's only big. I know those aren't exactly specific dimensions, but at its largest, based on the most recent data we've received, this thing was as big as the distance between Earth and Jupiter. Massive. Absolutely massive, sir. And it does not appear to be natural.
Well, no, that is remarkable. Does Mr. Chathane have any theories or analyses?
I have him looking at the data right now, sir. Still waiting on his report. And I hope to get it back here shortly. But
Oh, let's see if we can do one better. And he's gonna tap his comm badge and say, "Shruth to Chathane."
Chathane, your comm badge does not boop. However, this is a great opportunity for us to pivot down to wherever you think Chathane would be looking at the data on this massive structure.
So I think he would simply be in one of the civilian science labs that has been appropriated by the contingent that was dispatched from the Daystrom Institute. But there are likely a few Starfleet officers that have commingled with his staff that he is tasked with analyzing specific elements of the data. And you find him seated at a chair in front of one of those display screens as he's mulling over the information that's scrolling past and using a kind of tactile interface to engage with it.
Absolutely brilliant. And standing next to him is the first officer, who is very interested in what you are looking into, and he's been like hovering over you. I don't know how Shaz Chathane would react to it, but he's been hovering, and he's always very like energetic. You know, you've come to see the first officer as being very energetic and maybe a little bit of a busybody at times, but he's in rare form today. He's in rare form, and you actually can hear him drumming his fingers on the top of one of the consoles, and just looking around. There's almost a nervousness to him. And go ahead, please.
No, go, please.
He says to you, "Are you about done?"
You can see that Shas's antennae are almost pinned into his hairline, and he reaches up and scratches at his nose faintly. Well, Commander, it is somewhat difficult to concentrate, considering the sensitivity of Andorian hearing and the constant noise.
He stops. Right. Sorry, that was rude of me. That was inconsiderate. That's the word. It was very inconsiderate.
No, it wasn't inconsiderate. It was thoughtless.
It was is my breathing bothering you too? Should I stop breathing for you, Chaz? Would that help? Would it make you feel more at home if I was not breathing right now? Or what do you need?
If it wasn't quite so loud, perhaps, yes, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
yeah.
The analysis of the data proceeds
at
pace.
Can you see the motion with my hands? Can you see the hand gesture I'm giving to you right now? Can you see it?
I wouldn't exactly say see, but I am able to perceive it. Yes.
That's good. Anyway, back to work.
You are proving everything that I believed about Starfleet to be entirely correct.
Thank
you. I very much appreciate
just about
that.
me personally. This has nothing to do with Starfleet. This is how.
Aren't you one of the finest examples of a Starfleet officer?
Absolutely not.
That's fair. I will accept that.
He just bursts into laughter. Just bursts into just giddy laughter, and then quickly recovers. And he says, "What have you discovered?" Yes.
And Jess just kind of smiles wryly. Quite frankly, I'm almost utterly baffled. I had thought originally when we detected the object at its initial size that it might have been some kind of, I don't know, a globus Cassius, a kind of artificial world, one of the smaller megastructures, but there's no known even theoretical object that could be constructed that would take up the space between Earth and Jupiter. It's far too large.
Theories?
It's possible that what we're witnessing is some kind of bizarre subspace phenomenon. It's how do I put this in a way that you would understand? That's the real challenge here. It's possible that we're looking at some kind of object that is existing simultaneously across multiple subspace honeycombs. And when it phases into our reality from one of those subspace domains, it then occupies that space. It's, in essence, an artificial pocket universe phasing in and out of various different subspace layers. Obviously not the size of an actual universe, but its own self-contained, multidimensional, inertial reference frame.
So if I'm to understand what you're saying, and forgive my ignorance, you're saying that this object may be smaller than it actually appears to be, but is simultaneously existing over a vast distance.
Not just vast distances, but multiple subspace layers. So multiple universes and distances.
And that's good? Bad?
It's intriguing. I have very little else to say in that regard. It's unlike anything that we've ever encountered before.
That's good? Bad?
Well, Starfleet's mission is to seek out new life and new civilizations, to explore strange new worlds, and to seek out new life and new civilizations. You do all those things quite poorly because you're also responsible for enacting large-scale war, but that's quite beside the point. You're encountering something.
Of war as well, and saving countless lives from being slaughtered, etc. Yeah,
I'm sure that's true from a certain point of view, one that's incorrect, but either way, this is something unknown, and well, we're out here to make the unknown known. So I'm excited.
All that really matters. You're excited. Keep at it, science person. Say officer, but didn't cut it. So anyway, I will go see the captain, and I will let him know that you are doing an adequate job. And if we need anything else, we'll buzz you, as it were. And as he turns to walk away, Shaz, I will let you have a word. It looks like you wanted to.
No, go ahead.
He turns to walk away. There is something that you notice. Something that seems off. I'm going to give you a prompt, and I want you as a player to tell me what it looks like. There is a device on his hip. You know how they normally have like the little phaser holsters and maybe a little tricorder holster? There's something else that you don't immediately recognize. What is it?
So it's a small device with a series of almost like protuberances along the sides, and each of them flashes in turn with a kind of what seems to be a mathematical complexity, and in perhaps some kind of mathematical sequence that he recognizes but can't quite place its relevance. Yeah. And
as he turns, he walks out of the door. The sequence seems to increase in intensity, like the tempo of it. And then as the doors close, he's gone. Then your comm badge chirps. Your comm badge chirps.
Oh, what fresh hell is this? And
Captain.
He taps his comm badge.
Your comm, it finally goes through.
This is Chathane, yes?
Yes, Doctor. This is the captain. We need you. The first officer and I would like to see you in the ready room.
Did he contact you?
He's been here for the past 15 minutes.
Looks over the door, looks back. He's been here for the last half hour.
I can assure you, Daz, I would not do that to myself. Ever.
Are you all right, Doctor?
I'm quite all right. And he looks around at the various different members of his staff, and he calls over to, let's see, Specialist Antoine Devereaux. Calls him over.
Yes, monsieur, what can I do for you?
Oh, no.
I love him. I love him.
Mr. Devereaux, you saw the commander here, yes?
Mais oui, he was right here this for the past 30 minutes or so.
Thank you. That accent comes across in a very strange way. I'm hearing you in Andorian. It's not something I've ever discerned before. That's interesting.
It is from the colony from where I am from.
Well, thank you, Mr. Devereaux. Captain, did you hear that?
I did. I struggled to believe it. Well, it's not that I struggled to believe it. I am trying to find an explanation as to why the commander could be in two places at the same time.
There are innumerable explanations, Captain. Some kind of temporal anomaly, a changeling, or cameloid infiltrator.
Clones. Probably clones, Captain.
Is nobody else but me bothered by this?
Oh
no, I think you should probably contact Lieutenant Phelan.
Yes, thank you. A moment. And yeah, the captain's gonna close his channel, open another one. Truth to Phelan.
Phelan, your comm badge doesn't chirp. Yes. But where would Phelan be? right now? Where would you be?
So, have we all been briefed on what's going on with this incoming structure?
Yes. Yep. Everyone has an
All
idea
right.
of where you're going to. Great question. Everyone knows where you're heading to. Shaz has just been, as we just had that scene, he's just been kind of getting into some of the data, some of the information. Love the idea of like the multiple pocket subdimension universe thing. I think that's fantastic. Love that. Very good. But yes, you've been briefed. But where would you be, Lieutenant Phelan? Please.
I think Phelan is in the security team briefing room. He is going over with his team leaders the finer points of potential boarding actions if we have to explore this structure and things go awry. So he's talking about, the importance of using 2x2 cover formations, checking your corners, making sure to clear any doors before you enter a room.
Yes. As any good first officer would, the first officer is there with you as well, and he's been kind of checking in on things. He's got a little data pad. He's got a pair of glasses on. They don't have lenses, but they just he looks smart in them, I guess. And he's got a little data pad, and just every time you like give a command or order, he'll like make a note, like a doot 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 doot, watching. One of your security personnel trips and stumbles, and you just hear doot 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 doot. Just watching. He's definitely hovering. Definitely hovering.
Yeah, when he points like as he trips, is like that cost you half a second, and in that half a second, your teammate was killed.
Sorry, sir. I'll do better.
Do not be sorry. Just do not do it again.
I'll do better next time, sir. I won't trip. I just are we thinking we're actually gonna get into some fighting, sir?
I have found it is best to prepare for any eventuality, and as members of Starfleet, you should be prepared for it in any event.
Right. Okay. All right. Just two by two cover angles. Runs in, and then the first officer comes over and he goes, "Lieutenant Phelan, I tell you, you've been doing a really good job. I don't know if anyone has actually taken the time to just look you in the eye, man to man." And he's got his little data pad, he's got his lensless glasses, and he adjusts them with his right hand, and he puts a strong hand on your shoulder. Like a strong hand. Stronger than you might think. You're just doing a little shake. Really good job. Bringing a lot of honor to the crew, I think. You're just bringing a lot of honor to the crew. And I just want to say, like, takes the data pad and like taps your chest with it. Keep up the good work. Gives you another shake. Takes a step back.
Part of your wager that you're attempting to make me laugh.
No.
Well, in that case, I will continue putting the security team through their paces in the event that they are needed.
Hopefully they aren't. But if they are, good thing they've got you, eh?
I suppose so. And he will kind of take a step back, just a little personal space. Make some room for Kalis.
Mm-hmm.
And turn attention back to the drills and say, no, breach, bang, then clear.
Right, bang, breach, clear. Got it. Okay, understood. That's right. Breach.
If you
wait,
throw
clear,
the flashbang first, you will blind yourself. You have to breach the door first.
Okay,
then the clearing device.
Okay, right. Clear. Ting, 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 ting. Ah, my eyes. It's not going well. It's
How
really
did the
not.
Federation manage to win this war?
It's really not going well. You've got like
as bad as we are, you guys were worse.
Oh. That's so mean. That's so mean. So as you are going through the drills, I'd like from you, Schmandy, I'd like you to give me a moment where someone is about to do something that could be potentially actually dangerous, and I want to know how you stop it from happening and what the repercussions are of it. So let's say you're doing a room clearing drill, okay? Say you've been boarded, you're going room by room, clearing it, looking for survivors, allies. Someone's mess something up, how do you prevent it from becoming a true disaster? And what are the repercussions?
During one of the clearing exercises, as I am basically in the training room as part of the exercise, I see that one of the cadets has, like, he drops his phaser, which at this moment is set to like the lowest possible setting, basically laser tag.
Mhm.
Picking it back up in a way he accidentally sets it to a live setting.
Okay.
He points it at one of the nearest training partners, and Phelan will attempt to just basically bowl that target out of the way, putting himself in the line of fire while trying to knock the phaser away.
Give me a fitness security difficulty of 0. You're going to succeed. I want to give you some momentum. Fitness security difficulty of 0. If you have hand-to-hand combat, definitely give yourself a focus.
Oh, he absolutely has.
Absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Fitness security.
Absolutely love it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. That's 1. That's good. That's good. You're up to 4. Absolutely brilliant. You succeed. The phaser doesn't even go off. You manage to knock it out of the cadet's hand. You tackle the other one into the wall. He gets a couple of bumps. No big deal. The first officer is watching everything going on from a safe distance away. You see him make a couple of boops on his little data pad. And in this moment, Phelan, you watch as the first officer turns away from the scene. How do you, though, I want you to tell me, how do you, though, reprimand or deal with what just happened? What is the fallout of this situation?
As much as Phelan usually tries to keep his composure to avoid being the stereotypical brutish, Klingon barbarian, at this point he just roars, "Check your fire, ensign!"
And the ensign freezes, starts to panic, starts to mumble to themselves, looks down, looks just like terrified. The other ensign, who you saved effectively from being disintegrated, looks over to you and is like grateful, but also in pain. And it is just a moment. And even if everything is going on, though, you watch as the first officer reaches down and picks up a small cylindrical device with flashing lights, the exact same type of device that Shaz described to us, Matthew described to us, looks down at it and seems to kind of fixate on it for a second. There's a couple of flashing lights up and down. They begin to increase in intensity. And then he turns and walks out of the holodeck. I imagine this is taking place in the holodeck in like a training simulator, right?
Yeah.
Walks out of the holodeck into the hall, and the doors close behind him. And in this moment, as the one ensign is like groaning a little bit on their shoulder, the other one's trying to blurt out some sort of apology. This moment, your comm badge chirps. The captain comes through.
Yeah, sir.
Lieutenant, I'd like you to locate, well, maybe not locate, but be aware that I've got reports that the first officer is in more than one place at a time. He's in my office right now.
That is impossible. He was just here.
That's impossible. I've been here for like 25 minutes now.
He's still here?
I'm still here. In the captain's office.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think yours left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yours left. He's in the office.
Understood, sir. You, with me. Set phasers to stun.
Love it. You two bolt off. Love that. Okay. So he's going to go hunt for the first officer. I love that. We then pivot over to the engineering. So ship's been humming. Lieutenant Commander Flitz. Ship has been absolutely humming. She is purring like a kitten. All right. She's no space dragon infused ship, right? But she's doing pretty good. All right.
None of them are.
None of them are, right? But she's doing real good, right? However, there is an inspection that's been scheduled by one of the command staff, by one of the first officer himself. He's just doing rounds, okay? You've noticed every time the first officer has done his rounds, it's very, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but he seems to have this kind of inherent trust in you normally. This go around, he's being now. I don't know. You're an android, right? So maybe you don't get annoyed, but you can tell that everyone else around you is getting very edgy. All right, and you are off doing whatever you want to be doing, but he, the first officer, is standing next to Lieutenant Andrea Bronson, and he is asking her questions. And it's this kind of spitfire, rapid fire questioning, like you're being interrogated. And before she can answer one question, he asks another question, and then another question. And it almost looks like, for the discerning eye, that he's goading her. Like he's almost trying to make her upset. And there is this uncomfortably mischievous grin on his face. Uncomfortably mischievous, this little, like not a grin, but a smirk. A little smirk in the corner of his lips, right? And she's like, "Well, sir, if you would let me answer one of the questions before well, I need you to also answer why is the and this is very important, why have you not actuated the energy polaron field manifold? Why is it 0.257 degrees off of where it should be? And on top of that, the intensity of the primary gravimetric inference manifold is also 0.2 out of discrepancy with regards to the," and he goes off. She's like, "Well, I can explain, but we were working on," and then we did it, and go ahead.
Flitz watches this for a minute, and he's running this through this algorithm that he's produced that like analyzes interpersonal biologic reaction, like interpersonal interactions between biologics, and it's a heavy algorithm. Like he actually is using like noticeable time to process it. He takes a few seconds and just he's like literally like scratching his head so far as like Flitz, thinking. And he just kind of shakes his head and slides. Like he's completely chrome, right? And just slides right in between the two of them, and answers every question exactly like in the order that they were asked, with every clarification that he asked for in between them, rapidly, like Micro Machine Man style, rapidly. Answers every single question, every single follow up, and then cocks his head and says, "Will there be anything else, Commander, or are you finished badgering my staff?"
Give me a reason engineering difficulty of 0. I love it.
I'll take it.
There you go. Max momentum. Almost like we planned it. I love that journey for you. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Captain's getting very lackadaisical here. Maybe the first officers were rubbing off on him a little bit. I like that. All right. You answer all the questions. The first officer looks like he's about to ask another question. Your algorithm is so good that you know exactly what he's going to ask, and you answer it before he even speaks. And he kind of takes just a little step back. He looks at you.
"Are you finished, sir?"
"Well, I believe that I am, Lieutenant Commander Flitz. I believe that I am. You are quite the specimen, Lieutenant Commander Flitz. Quite the specimen."
"Correct. I am, in fact, one of a kind."
Approximately how long did it take you to figure out the answer to all of those questions?
Well, I initially already had the answers to those questions. They're all merely data sets.
But how long did it take you to compile them and then verbally present them to me in such a concise and easy to understand matter?
Well, each answer was formulated as you asked the question to the lieutenant.
Tenet is just
I didn't.
glaring at the
I
first
didn't.
officer.
I didn't have to collate any of the information. I merely answered it in order of its presentation, and then I, knowing the time in between questions as you were interrogating my lieutenant, I figured I calculated that a 230 words per minute delivery of the information would perfectly fill the gap in between your questions, sir. That took me approximately 4.3 picoseconds to calculate.
That little smirk he had on his face becomes an almost Cheshire-like grin. If you were human, you might be uncomfortable in this moment. As
I'm
an
not.
android, I'm not exactly sure how you feel. Looks at you and he just says, go ahead, please.
Curious.
He
Just
looks at
curious.
you and he actually says, curious. Ooh, intriguing. Lieutenant Commander Flitz, I taps his lips with his finger. I need you to come with me, just for a moment. There's something I need you to look at. I'm sure your department can handle themselves for a few moments, correct?
He turns around. As you were, Lieutenant?
Yes.
As you were.
Yes, sir.
Commander?
And he is going to begin to walk out of the main engineering, and this is at this moment you notice that he has this device on his hip, this cylindrical, I believe you described as a cylindrical device, Matthew. These kind of flashing lights, and he pulls it out and he looks down at it, and you could swear, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, that he's communicating with it or reading something. These flashing lights, all right, these kind of flashing lights, and it definitely looks like some kind of code or some sort of communication is what you're thinking, is that you're seeing. And as you're watching it, you become surprisingly fixated on it, which is odd for you. And as you walk forward, the world around you, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, seems to kind of fade away. Just completely fade away, and all you see is the forearm of the commander, the little device. Everything else just kind of looks like just whiteness. All right? We're going to leave you there as you hear the doors open. You walk forward. We're going to leave you there for now. We're going to pivot back where we began this adventure with Lieutenant Commander Stern, and the first officer has recently just walked in the medical bay. And he sees you, and there is this little smirk on his face, but he does not walk to you, Lieutenant Commander Stern. He walks over to Ardal. And they have a very quick conversation. You hear her laugh. You hear him laugh. And then it looks as though he asks her to come with him. She kind of says, looks over at the patient. He must say something like, oh, don't worry about it. And then he begins to walk out and he looks over and he says, Lieutenant Commander, I hope you don't mind if I borrow Ardal here for just a few moments. There's something I wanted her to look at. I actually think it could help with the project that you and Shaz are working on with regards to trying to save her home planet. And I hope you don't mind. I'll have her back in just a few moments.
It's all yours.
Wonderful. And might I say you are a vision today, Doctor. You look did you do something different with your hair today? Ah, no bother, no bother, no bother. Anyway, come on, Arnold. Arnold, come on. We'll make this really quick, really quick. And you see him pull out this weird little flashing device, and he like puts his arm on her shoulder, like around her shoulder, and like holds it up as they walk out the door. And then as the door slides shut, you could swear you see a bright flash of like white light. What do you do, Doctor?
I guess go to investigate.
As you walk out, you are seconds behind them. Medical bay, there's a long hallway. Right and left, there is no human or physical possible way they could be out of eye shot. They are nowhere. Nowhere.
Computer, locate the commander and Ardal. My dot went off.
The commander is currently in the captain's ready room. Ardal is not currently aboard the vessel.
What? Stand to the captain.
Boop, boop, boop.
Go ahead, Commander.
Is the commander with you?
Yes, he's been here for past half an hour.
He was just
Asking about me?
in my sick bay, and he asked to borrow Ardal for some projects that Shaz and I have been working on. But now the computer cannot find him in my sick bay anymore, and Ardal is no longer on the ship.
And the captain's just gonna like, without saying anything, he's going to tap a button on his console, and everybody will see that the ship goes to red alert.
Love it.
And he taps it again, opens a channel to the entire crew, and says, "To all hands, this is the captain. Be on the lookout for Commander Ulrin. Detain him if found. All hands, this is a security alert." And he's just gonna look at
like
he's
offers
just gonna
his hands like
he's just gonna say, "Not you.
I don't know.
We have an intruder."
I believe that we do, sir. Two things. Shaz, as you've been analyzing the data, as all of this else is going on, you just picked up 4 distinct, very strong bursts of energy that originate on board the Erebus, and then 4 distinct bursts of energy that match in intensity and signature near the structure that you've been analyzing. All right? It is like a metronome going tick, tick. You see the tick, the energy bursts, the tick, the energy bursts, and then once again that same weird sort of jarbled data that you've been struggling to figure out. All right? I want to give you a moment, Shaz, to look into it, investigate, ask questions, make some checks. That is the prompt that I'm giving you. I want you to run with it.
Okay. So do you want me to actually roll for that and devise information, or should I just sort of
I would
narratively
love to roll from it. I'd love for you to roll for it, and then we'll go from there. Yep.
Then I would like to try to analyze those energy signatures and see if the correspondence in the relative time of their appearance aligns with any kind of technology that we're familiar with in terms of transportation, like folding space, the relative time in transporting long distances or warp transport, something like that.
Perfect. Give me a control science, okay? Because I'm going to believe you'll be using the sensors, right? To do this? Okay. Control science, and I'm going to have it be a difficulty. This is not going to be easy. Difficulty of 4. It was quick, it was brief, and it is very foreign, this energy signature.
Okay.
Oh, Miss Luna, hello.
Let me see.
My cat just jumped up on my little side desk here, and I just heard a ploop, and then she just is looking straight at me right there. She's being a kitty. I love you,
Kitty.
kid. He's the bestest. Oh my god. Let me just take a picture of that. I'll send that to you guys. Look at that.
I miss my kitties so much.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Me
Your
too.
kitties are amazing.
So I'm going to purchase 2 extra dice to roll 4 dice, if
Love
that's
it.
all right with everyone.
Please.
And would well, I guess I have sensor operations as a talent, so let's go with that as a focus rather.
I mean, if you want to.
And
Let's go.
Oof.
Oh wow,
Oof.
that's rough.
That's a big
That's
oof.
rough, buddy.
That's a big oof.
Yeah. Can I draw upon my value here? So I'm going to use a determination to re-roll those 2 zeros.
Love it.
And I think I will be drawing upon see beyond the surface where the truth always lies, because there's obviously some kind of mystery at work here. And the superficiality of these fake commanders is obviously concealing some kind of deeper reality that he wants to illuminate through this investigation.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like
So
it.
control science, rolling 2 dice with a focus. Wow, he's terrible at this.
Did you fail again? Oh no! Oh, it's so rough. All right. Here's what you determine. Here's what you determine. Not much. I hate to say it. Not much, unfortunately. You determine that the energy signatures, the pulses, they match, but you have no idea what type of technology was used. You don't know if it was a signal, a transport. All you know is that the energy signatures, energy signatures match, and there was a blip, metronome again, a tick, 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 blip, blip. That's all you can pick up. That's all you know.
So scowling slightly and looking back and forth between the teams of scientists that are working behind him, almost with a chagrined expression on his face, as he's experienced a tremendous amount of embarrassment at this failure. He's going to tap his comm badge and hail the captain. Captain?
Go ahead, Chaz.
Sensors have just detected some kind of reciprocal energy pulse emanating from the Erebus and the megastructure that we're approaching. There were 4 distinct energy patterns, and they seem evidently yoked together, but I'm unable to ascertain their nature or function.
Were they simultaneous or staggered?
Staggered. The pulses, the 4, were simultaneous, but it was almost a response. 1 on the Erebus, or 4 on the Erebus, and then 4 at the station.
GM, the captain is also a scientist.
Absolutely is.
Can we try a roll here?
You know what? I'm going to let you try to assist. If he passes the data to you, you could try to save him in this situation.
So
maybe
roll.
it's not exactly rules as written, but that feels narratively right. Like, this is the data I have. I'm a failure because I'm not actually Starfleet. Help me, Captain.
Ooh.
Fair, he should have been assisted by the ship.
I wondered about that.
Yeah, he also should have been assisted by the
He
ship.
should
Yes.
have, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I'll roll 1d20 on control science then to help him. I guess we're doing it longhand. We just have our papers out.
Here, Wolf, you're the worst. I know.
Yeah.
I'm the worst.
Let's see.
I like this group. You guys are fun. Oh my god.
Could my my focus on subspace theory apply here?
I mean, yes.
Yes. Here you go.
Ooh, and you get a momentum back. Look at you, sassy. All right. It is transwarp. Like instantaneous point-to-point, like teleportation.
So
And-
it's like a faster version of our transporter.
Correct. It's like instantaneous. Like it almost appears as if it's, to use a D&D reference, it's like dimension door. Like literally you open a doorway and you can just step through it and you're at one place and then the other.
Iconian
and
Gateway.
Yes, correct.
I think at that, the captain is gonna forward Shas information on that, because I think he wrote a paper at the academy on the Iconian civilization, and became as familiar as one could get without proper clearance regarding their gateway technology. And says, I think Shast, we just picked up a transporter of some sort.
So Shas will just review the data that's been sent to him, and the scowl and the furrowed brow actually grow slightly deeper. Yes, I hadn't thought to consult Starfleet's classified database. The additional information regarding the Iconian stellar transporter system is...
this is actually from an undergraduate paper that I wrote at the academy.
Well, my confidence in Starfleet security actually has decreased, considering that you're able to gain access to this kind of information.
He just can't admit, he can't say thank you. I love him.
You're welcome, Shas. Let me know.
Thank you, Captain.
He's gonna close the channel.
I think that's the nicest thing he's ever said to you.
Yes, definitely, most definitely. He's very angry young man.
I should be more worried about there being an imposter that's me roaming the ship, right?
I don't think they're on board anymore.
I'm less worried then.
Well, you should probably stay in here because Lieutenant Philan may try to subdue you physically.
I'm looking for an excuse.
I can't honestly say that I blame him.
If he did, though, it might make him laugh.
No. Yeah, the captain is just gonna clue in Lieutenant Philan and his security teams. Yeah.
Understood. We'll continue to sweep the ship for if there are any remaining on board. Keep the commander detained to his current location to avoid any mistakes.
Indeed. Make sure you set your phasers to maximum stun. If any of them are left aboard, I want them alive, and I want them in the brig.
Understood. He sets his phaser to basically like, what would be enough to kill a person, and then back it off a little bit.
Yeah, maximum stun. That's...
You love to see it. You absolutely love.
You got to indulge your people sometimes.
I like it.
Just got to be like, take the gloves off and just go.
It's a little treat.
Yeah.
Lieutenant?
You can have a little bit of excessive force.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Lieutenant Commander. There was a bright flash of light. You remember the lights? How many lights were there? No, we're not making that joke. But watch those lights. And then the world around you seems to shift back into, well, physical form. You're no longer standing engineering, nor are you in the hallway outside of engineering. You are in I want you to imagine a large, kind of like, if you're walking into a cathedral, okay? You know, the narthex, or that little entrance area. You are standing in what appears to be a kind of Gothic-like architecture, cathedral entrance. However, it's not made of stone or wood, but metal, and you see wires, but everything is very clean. I want you to think Warhammer 40k style Imperium of Man, but like nice looking instead of really
nice.
crappy. But nice, right? That's
So
what it
not
looks like.
Warhammer.
So like Golden Age of Mankind 40K
Golden Age
era.
of Mankind 40k area. Exactly. Looks beautiful. You look down, and there is a there are rows and rows of these consoles, glowing lights, and you see these sort of hunched figures working. There must be 100 of them. All right? Standing next to you is no longer the first officer with this device, nor is he dressed in Starfleet uniform, but rather, who is the most important person in Lieutenant Commander Flitz's life? Either his creator, who is the most important person? Who would he think of if he felt actual emotions, if he needed someone to think about to feel better? Who would be important to him?
This is such fan service to myself, but it's Krev.
Krev. I love it. I love it. So I'm not going to be able to do Lieutenant Commander Krev justice, so I'm just going to play myself as Lieutenant Commander Krev, so forgive me. I'm not
just do your best, man. It's fine.
I'm not a surly man, but Krev is standing next to him. And he's got that kind of surly expression that he did sometimes, right? Okay. And he looks over, right? And he looks over and he goes, "You've got work to do, Lieutenant Commander.
Captain?
Important work. And I need you." Right? It has to do with my wife. Bits, and they're starting to get a little itchy. I'm just kidding. That's just funny. That's a little fan service for you. Anyway, no, I'm moving on. Wait, all right. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so, no. We have important work to do. Down the way, though, all the way down at the end, there appears to be a kind of altar, okay? And on that altar, you see a figure. This figure is dressed in white, like a white robe, and they have these tubes and stuff surrounding them. They appear to be hooked up to a bunch of medical equipment. And I want you to imagine this cathedral like there is that altar up at the front of it, okay? They appear to be the important person, or persons, as it were, up at the front. And what you notice is that the person on this altar appears to have short white hair and looks slightly familiar, right? But Lieutenant Commander Krev, Captain Krev at this point, Captain Krev looks down and says, "I need that mind of yours, Lieutenant Commander Flitz. That mind of yours to fix a very important problem. Can I count on you, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, as I always have?"
Flitz, looks closer, does that head cock thing that he does, and says, "This is a very compelling likeness. Who are you?"
"I'm your captain, Lieutenant Commander." And then he sort of cracks his neck, crack, like you just did. And the vision of Captain Krev fades away. Just fades away. It's like a blink of an eye. It fades away. And rather than your captain standing before you, you see what looks to be a mixture of whirling kind of gears, robotic eye, a sort of combination of physical and mechanical gear. Very, very 40K Adeptus Mechanicus style, right? Okay. Not quite as grotesque, but like a robe, similar style. And in a very calm voice that seems almost unnatural for this person, this creature, you hear him say, "I can see my normal tricks will not work on the likes of you, which is precisely why I know you're the right person, right creature for this very important task. You wish to know my name? I will tell it to you. I am called Gruus. Gruus. It's a bit of a play on words, but also very much who I am. You see that delightful creature there on that altar? It's very important to us, very important to me that we figure out precisely how she does what she does, how she adapts the way she does. You see, we have a very important work to do here. Myself and the Gahode, we have a very important work for the Centaurium. The Centaurium and I being member of the Centaurium, we have work to do. Good Lieutenant Commander Flitz, and we have been struggling with a bit of calculation. I believe you, my dear metallic friend, might be the missing link. So I ask once again, can I count on your support, your act of good faith?
Usually, acts of good faith are earned. You've done nothing but kidnap myself and my ship's young ward over there.
You cannot kidnap someone that you own. I was simply returning property that had been stolen from me.
Ah, and there is another misconception that you seem to have. A sentient creature cannot be owned.
And he just bursts into this rolling laughter that echoes through the halls. And there is this kind of chorus from all of the other little drones that are at their consoles that starts to echo that same laughter, right? It starts to echo that same laughter. And when he finally settles down after like an uncomfortable amount of time, if you were a human, like probably like 30 seconds, he says, I had no idea that your kind was blessed with the gift of humor. If you will not do so willingly, Mr. Flitz, I will simply make you. But if I make you help me, then I will ensure that once the work is done, that little thing over there, she'll be nothing more than a shell. But if you choose, in good faith, the name of the Centaurum, then I promise you I will do my best to ensure she survives. So I present you with these two choices, Mr. Flitz. Which do you choose?
What is the information that you seek? What do you wish to do with this information? And how do you think you would make me help you?
And he's gonna bring up that little flashing light device, and you cannot resist it, Lieutenant Commander Flitz. You see it, everything around you fades away, and you feel like maybe a nanosecond went by, and as the reality swirls back around you, you find yourself standing right next to the altar. All right? And you find your hands holding on to like some of the medical equipment. And that Mechanicus man, this Gruus, Grus, Gruus, standing across from you. Quite simply, Mr. Flitz. However, to do this, I believe you will need a clear mind, but I am willing to risk an unclear mind to accomplish what I have been seeking to accomplish for longer than it should have taken. So I ask you once more, Mr. Do I force you? Or do you act willingly?
Foots looks down at the equipment. What can he learn? I'd like to learn something about what he's asking me to do, just from
So
whatever the state of the equipment is right
So
now.
what you're
You get
seeing
what I'm
here,
saying?
it appears to be a mixture of medical equipment and like engineering equipment, all right? And it seems like what this person is trying to do is understand how she is able to, how Ardnall is able to adapt the way that she does, because there's a similarity between the way that her species, the Ikal, has like a mixture. It's not as grotesque as the man before you, but there's definitely a mixture of
Mm-hmm.
science and biology, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
between the two, okay? His seems perhaps more powerful, but a lot more, it's powerful, but it's a lot more like industrial, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like what he's asking is, again, he wants you to help explain how her technology works. The reason he's not giving yet, but that's what it seems like. All of the equipment, like you could look at this equipment and in a nanosecond kind of make an assessment, right? So I'm just feeding you information.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like he wants you to try to help him figure out.
Okay. He would like to um assess
Imperium, but not
if
dystopian. Correct, Matthew.
if he finds the answer, would they know it without me telling them?
I'm gonna say no, and I want to leave that scene right there. Okay, I feel like that's a good scene because I want to go back to the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point, would you have called a meeting? I want to ask, what is the crew doing? What are the rest of you doing? Would you have gotten people together? Are you like, what's going on back on the Erebus?
I think in light of the sort of crisis, rather than a meeting, everybody's on the bridge
Beautiful.
as we're, heading towards this thing. That way, everybody's got access to all their stuff.
I'm going to give this to you guys. At this point, you are in the same system as the structure. Like maybe right on the outskirts. Very similar to when we were on the outskirts of the system where you actually originally met the Akal. You are kind of in a similar situation. And the way that you described this structure, Shaz, Matthew, when you look into the system, you see it appears to be multiple instances of this. It's like a it's not a it's like a it's like a three-dimensional hexagon, and I don't know the actual term for it, but like a is it like a dodecahedron? It's like a cube, but it's like a sphere, but there's like flat sides. I don't know how to describe
Is
it.
it like a tesseract?
Like a tesseract. Yeah, it's kind of like a tesseract, right? They're like multiple tesseracts that appear to be like connected together over this vast amount of space, but they're also like blinking in and out of existence. All right, it's like playing mahjong. It's like a giant thing of like it's a giant 3D mahjong. Okay, which mahjong is 3D, but like it's like a big old and like you can see like bits like appearing and then reappearing and like removing around, and it is again massive. Like it boggles the mind at how big this is. Okay, but it appears to be multiple tinier structures composing the superstructure, and they're blipping in and out of existence over time. All right, go.
Shas, are there any subspace anomalies? Is this some form of quantum entanglement? Temporal
From
distortion?
my supposition, Captain, is that this entire structure, he says with some dubiety, is itself a subspace anomaly. It's Others have used the analogy of a honeycomb to describe subspace with all of its myriad different layers. This is quite literally that. Each of the individual cubes is phasing in and out of various different subspace layers in an infinite continuum, and then phasing into regular space. I have no idea why anyone would ever construct such a thing.
How do we locate our people?
That's a very good question. I can try to localize the specific energy signature. I would assume that they transported to one of these objects, but it's anyone's guess as to where they might be now if these things are phasing in and out of different subspace layers, and even the location in real space where they beamed to might not be in the same place anymore.
GM, can I make a callback to an episode of an earlier Star Trek series?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do you can do whatever the hell you want, man. Like, we're having fun here. We're
perfect.
We're flying by the seat of our
Knowledge
pants.
All right.
We're getting weird,
Yeah,
guys.
Get weird.
The captain is going to consider for a moment and then say, this is slightly similar to an event that befell the crew of the USS Enterprise D. Their chief engineer developed a sensor system that penetrated different subspace domains and made contact with a hostile alien race that abducted the crew for medical experimentation. That is not in itself similar, but perhaps we can use the concept of the LaForge sensor array to help locate our people.
I'd have to liaise with engineering and attempt to implement these alterations to the sensors, but if what you described is true, it might work.
I'll take all the personnel that you need.
I suppose I should head to engineering. He stands slightly awkwardly and starts making his way towards the turbolift, stops, and he doesn't turn around, but he does say over his shoulder, Lieutenant Phelan, you might want to review the sensor data that I've collected and develop some kind of defense against that transporter. Perhaps you could modulate the shields accordingly.
I will take it under advisement, Mr. Chethane.
Wonderful.
Captain, your comm badge chirps.
He heads off.
Whose comm badge? Mine?
Your comm badge chirps.
Okay.
Lieutenant Bronson to the captain.
Go ahead, Bronson.
Sir, is Lieutenant Commander Flitz with you?
He is not.
I've been trying to raise him, and the ship's computer can't pick him up right now. Last I saw, he was walking out with the first officer, but then you also said that the first officer wasn't the first officer, and I'm pretty sure I saw a bright flash of light, sir.
All right, so Lieutenant, it's fairly safe to assume at this point that he's also been abducted.
Oh. Crap.
Mr. Chethane is on his way to engineering.
Yes, sir.
Whoever is in command down there right now, I want you to give him all the assistance that he needs.
Take care of it, sir.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Sir, Bronson out.
And he will turn to Lieutenant Phelan and say, Lieutenant.
Sir.
The ship is carrying a complement of transphasic torpedoes, are we not?
Aye, sir.
I want you to make them ready.
Will be done. Sir, if this sensor array can be adapted, could it possibly be fitted to match our transporters, potentially to mount a rescue operation?
It may, but I would like you to liaise with Mr. Chethane regarding some shield modifications. Because if this works out the way that I want it to, we're going to take the ship in.
At the mention of Mr. Chethane, his expression kind of sours a little bit, but aye, sir, I will see it done. He
Commander.
will.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He
Go
will
ahead.
get send a message down to fire control to ready the transphase torpedoes.
And Commander Stern, I'd like you to review the sensor data that Mr. Chathane has accumulated to determine if there will be any radiological hazards to the crew if we have to take the ship into the structure, and prepare an adequate inoculant for our purposes.
Aye, Captain.
And as everyone sets off at their tasks, I think this is a great moment to take a quick 10-minute break. Everyone grab a drink of water, and then we're going to come back and see what we do about this situation. We got ourselves a little bit of a pickle here, don't we? A little bit of a pickle. But stick around, everyone. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Until then, be well, be safe. Thank you for watching. All right, we are back with part 2 of our session 6. Beat of my heart. Beat of my heart, as it were. We last left off our intrepid crew of the Erebus. The captain had given orders to several of the crew members to, well, start to prepare the ship for what was to come with this massive subspace structure of some sort. The science officer and the newest, I don't know if we call her an ensign, but the newest member of the crew, one of the last remaining survivors of the Ikal species, a young woman by the name of Ardal. So who wants to go first? Who wants to go first with their preparations? I'd like to RP out these scenes. Who wants to go first?
Don't everyone go all at once. Sure. Phelan will. As the ship prepares, he will rather begrudgingly take Mr. Chitane's advice on how to adapt our shields based on the LaForge sensor array. And while doing that, he is also having a few of the auxiliary members of the security team go down to the civilian quarters and make sure everyone is in their, basically, like, whatever the best available evacuation route is in case things go.
They're all in lockdown, basically, and like preparations for emergency evacuation. That's what I'm hearing from you. I love it.
He is at this time in full just Captain Blood mode, barking orders to everyone on his team to make sure that, you know, if things go bad, it's not going to be on us. It's not because of us. We are here on the job.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, so the shield modifications. All right. How are you modifying the shields? I want you to take some creative license, describe to me what you're going to do to protect the ship, and then we're going to have you make a roll for it.
Okay. Well, so, and this is where my lack of, like, the technical side of...
There is an awesome button called Technobabble in Roll20 that I encourage you to make liberal and aggressive use of in a situation like this. You mash it, it'll give you several words that you can spit out, and you'll sound like a Starfleet jibber-jabberer in no time.
Gotcha. Where's that button?
On the bottom left-hand side of the screen, right underneath my name. Technobabble.
Oh, sorry, I'm seeing, like, the...
Oh, good. Take your time, man. Great learning opportunity.
I don't have it set up. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm taking time.
Yeah, you have to implement it first.
I'll smack it for you.
Well, that did it.
I smacked it for you. I got
Right,
you.
yeah. I will just shy of Shanghaiing a couple of engineering crewmen to help, you know, like you two. My team needs you to extend the primary ionic harmonic dampener on this shield array. It needs to be done quickly, and it needs to be done correctly.
Right, but if I do that, sir, I'm going to have to recalibrate the microscopic resonating frequency unit. I mean, that could take days.
You have minutes.
Well, sir, I mean, there's no way. I mean, if I start to recalibrate
I do not care for excuses right now. I need results. See to it.
This is why engineering security should not interact unless they really have to. Exactly. Yes, sir. We'll see it done, sir. Yes, sir. Got it. All right, moving on. All right, what I'm going to have you do is I think that should be a presence in command. Because you're not actually the one doing it, but you're, like, commanding them.
Yeah.
That feels
All
right. What kind of
my
focuses do you have?
Whopping 8, let's see, threat awareness, hand-to-hand combat, interrogation, survival, extravehicular operations. I could have some worker bees do it.
I'm going to go with...
All right.
I'm gonna give you. You know what? I'm gonna give you survival, even though I don't know I shouldn't. I'm a benevolent game master.
All right. I am a generous god. Ooh!
Oh, let's go!
Go!
I didn't even set the difficulty. It was gonna be like a 3. That is fucking brilliant. You know what? Difficulty was a 2. Fuck it. I'm gonna give you that 2 momentum. You're capped. All right, you guys are amazing. That was that. I can't take that from you. That was so good. Just 2 crits back to back. What did you roll? What did you freaking roll? That's so good. A 4 to 3. Savage. All right, so you bark the orders. They give a little pushback. You cling on, growl at them, and they get it done. All right, so the shields have been recalibrated to protect the vessel against intrusion, and anyone that might still remain on the ship would not be able to get off the ship unless the shields are lowered. All right, basically you've calibrated the shields, the deflector array, where similar to where you couldn't transport with your own technology, you've managed to block whatever they were using as well based on that data. Absolutely brilliantly done, and you've capped the crew on momentum. Perfect. All right, let's go to Shaz. Talk to me, Shaz. What are you doing?
So Shaz has made his way to engineering and essentially using a baseline telepathy has assessed the prevailing mood therein, and he recognizes that there's a tremendous amount of distress because they've lost their commanding officer, the chief engineer, and the engineering section really is largely in disarray. So he gathers people together to have a kind of conference meeting once he assesses what it is that LaForge did to modify the sensor array. And he doesn't give quite a speech, but he does try to rally them by looking out at them and simply saying, all of you are already familiar with me. You know of my reputation, and you know of my perspective on Starfleet officers and Starfleet as an institution. That's going to make it a challenge, I'm sure, to work with me. But I want you to know that whatever my feelings about Starfleet and whatever the difficulties that you have now without your commander, I have full confidence in your capabilities as engineers. And I believe that together we can rescue him and our other abducted crewmate. All you have to do is your duty.
Essence? Science. That was a very logical way to go about it. And you actually said something nice. I'm only going to make this a difficulty 12. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
It's going to be a difficulty of 2 again.
Science. Yeah, I don't think I have a focus for this.
I don't think you do either.
So I will. I'll take 1 momentum to roll 3 dice.
I love it. 2 difficulty to inspire the troops. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. God. Oh! Coming through in the clutch! Let's go, baby bird! I love it. I absolutely love it. So you have 3 floating momentum. Oh my god. What do you want to do with it?
Since I spent 1 moment, I think we have just what?
We have one
floating momentum?
No, because you got 4. You spent 1. You go up from. Oh no, you're right. You have 1 floating momentum. Forgive me. Yeah.
Sure. I suppose I'll spend 2 of those to create an advantage. So 1 floating and 1 from the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be to reduce the difficulty, perhaps, because of their motivation of the modifications that we're going to make to the ship and its implementation in the sensor array.
Difficulty on what specifically?
So the difficulty, we're going to be implementing that new sensor array. So basically creating an advantage about their motivation in the use of that sensor array or the modifications to affect that change to the sensor array, so that when we use that for weapons, for an attempt to destabilize the subspace matrices of this facility, anything related to that modification, decrease it on.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Get really real with you, Matthew. Fucking love it. And yes, you may absolutely do that. That's a brilliant idea. Absolutely.
Okay.
10 out of 10. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Would roll again.
Yes.
Okay.
10 would roll again.
So they seem to be somewhat heartened by that, although it's probably more that they just want to get out from under Shastain's temporary command and get their chief engineer back.
If we work quickly and efficiently, he'll be gone faster.
Yes. So
Wait, man, the faster we do this, the faster he'll shut up.
pretty much, yeah. So what he's going to do is try to modify the deflector array to emit a subspace differential pulse that will simultaneously scan functionally an infinite number of subspace domains, drawing from the records of the USS Enterprise.
I'm going to give this to you. You succeed in that, and you have the advantage. And on top of that, with that resounding success, you will also be able to. I'm going to give this to you as your question, because whenever you do sciencey stuff, you get to ask a question as a science officer. You'll also be able to locate where inside of the structure your missing crew are. All right, so I'm going to give that to you because I feel like that was a brilliantly described scene. So well done, sir. That's all I could say. I why am I even here? You don't even need me. You guys just tell your own story. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
So I will just say, with that done, he's going to tap his comm badge and contact the captain. The captain, with remarkable efficiency, the engineering staff has implemented the modifications to the sensor array necessary, and I believe with its use, we'll not only be able to scan the subspace honeycomb that these facilities are occupying, but also locate our missing crew members.
Well done, Mr. Chethane, and my compliments to engineering.
Thank you, sir. And he grimaces at that as he seems to realize what he just said. Sir.
Lieutenant Commander Stern. Let's talk about what you're doing to inoculate the crew.
Yeah, working with what Shaz has garnered from the surrounding area, just making sure that it is safe for members aboard. Along with that, those sensor findings, I think she would also, with permission, use the ship sensors as well, because she's got Ardal's life signs memorized, or however, like got that keyed into the sensors, specifically sweeping for her.
I'd like you to make control medicine difficulty of 3. It's going to be for a couple of different things.
Okay.
What you pick up, the first part, this is going to be your first part. Okay, actually, here's what we're going to do. Excuse me. We're going to do an insight medicine difficulty of 2. Once we succeed that, we'll then do the next check. So I want to see what information you pick up so I can provide it to you, and then you'll tell me how you want to use that information. Let's do an insight medicine difficulty of 2 first.
Would you say that, I know what I've already said I'm doing, but is that considered under detecting danger?
Yes.
Okay, so I will use a talent of constantly watching.
Love it.
So it reduces the difficulty by 1.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Insight.
I like how the first part of this people were failing, and now you guys are just like second half. You guys always just take off like champions. It's so good.
Xenobiology or infectious diseases.
100%. Either one of those would work. Absolutely. Brilliant. Succeed, and you have a floating momentum. All right. Here's where we're at. All things you pick up, Lieutenant Commander Stern. You recall that flash of light. Something clicks in your mind. There was a paper you read back at the academy of a theoretical virus that could be transmitted through light. Theoretical, right? It was like on the photons that make up light. Like light is actually matter, right? Like and it travels, whatever. It's anyway. Okay, so anyway, I'm not a scientist. Don't judge me. All right, so but there was a paper on that someone had written, and you remember that flash of light, and it occurs to you to perhaps scan for that, for like a light given virus. All right. Don't judge my descriptions here. Okay. You pick up something, all right? And what you pick up is you have to modulate your sensors, your tricorder, etc. But you pick up what appears to be dead viruses around and in the area where you last saw the first officer
Mhm.
and Ardal. Okay? And you're able to collect some samples, and now you have a chance to analyze them. Okay? And as you analyze them, all right, yeah, this is some sort of like microscopic nanovirus that's transmitted through light. What would you like to do with that information?
Um, would I know based on the paper I read, like the typical cleansing of that? Would like UV help
So phenomenal
kill it?
question. Phenomenal question. This is going to sound kind of stupid. It's not necessarily an inoculation.
Okay.
Sunglasses.
That.
Like goggles
Hmm.
would protect you. Like
Oh my God.
UV resistant like goggles.
Okay.
Like a nice pair of aviators, but obviously
we get-
something more scientific. But
Yeah.
like
We get like cool visors.
correct.
So
Like cool
add a
visors would do it.
character,
Yeah.
add a character, Captain. We're gonna look fly as fuck
Fly
as
as
we
fuck.
rescue
Yeah,
our
that's
people.
that's exactly what I'm going
Right.
for. Like you're gonna look really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
Pretty
I know it
fly
sounds
for a
kind of
blue
stupid,
guy.
but like that's they were like, well, it would be really simple to defend against it. You just need glasses. With a certain degree of UV resistance, and then the
Deal.
light would not be able to penetrate it, and the virus would no longer be able to enter in
Is
to
it
your.
similar to like the TOS where they had like the red visor looking thing?
Oh my God!
You
Was
stole
that
the thoughts.
Spock's brain?
You stole the
We,
thoughts
we
right
have
out
to
of
do
my
better
mind.
than that because we're new age now. So, but that's what that was my first thought.
I love where your mind's going.
The
Amazing.
Medusan ambassador. I think.
Yeah.
I love where your
Don't
mind's
look
going.
at him.
Exactly.
But yes, you can very easily replicate some glasses.
Okay.
That would defend you against
Excellent.
this.
Yeah. I can't wait for her to
Give
explain
me
that
a
to
control
everyone.
medicine. It's only gonna be a difficulty of 1 because you also have floating momentum that you could spend on this check or to honestly, you know what, I'm just gonna give this to you. You have so much floating momentum and you're capped and you guys are just badasses and you made a reference to a TOS episode, so I'm just gonna give it to you. All right, maybe I should make you roll more, but I honestly, I can't stop the glory. It's too good. All right, so everyone has managed at this point to complete your tasks, and the ship is now, I guess I would say, prepared. It is now situated and structured in such a way that you feel, at least at this point, confident to either approach or enter into the superstructure. I'd like to imagine at this point, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any other scenes you want to have, stop me. Imagine that everyone is now recongregated on the bridge. I will leave the scenes to all of you unless there's anything else you want to do before that.
All right, so we all got our goggles on.
Yep.
I'm assuming I've also determined that this disease is not going to kill anybody on board, and
So if you want to ask that question, what it
yes,
is,
well, that it's a two-part. That and then follow if there's a trail that we can follow it.
there is.
Cool.
Now you're thinking with angles. Well played,
Mhm.
Lieutenant Commander Stern. So first of all, what it is the virus seems to make you susceptible to light influence. So if you recall the way I described Lieutenant Commander Flitz, you recall what happened to Ardal. It appears to inhibit your reservations. It appears to inhibit your own self-control. Makes you docile, is what it does. So, but also,
It's a light-based roofie. That's what you're saying.
say again.
A light-based roofie is what you're saying.
It's like a light-based roofies. I hate that. I don't like that we're making that using that, but yeah, kind of. That's terrible.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Now you've made everyone uncomfortable, mostly Dear Wolf. All right, but now that I've roofied the crew, Let's fucking hell. All right.
They've done
Mostly
worse.
just me.
They've
honestly.
done worse.
They have done worse. That's true.
Doesn't make it
Episode
good,
2
but they've
of
done worse.
the second season there, or
Yep.
child.
All right. Anywho, Duvix. the latest,
Oh,
the latest
man.
lower decks were a Duvix.
Oh God.
Hashtag justice for Tuvix.
Mhm.
Anyway, we're moving on. So you've prepared the crew. On top of that, Lieutenant Commander Stern, you've also managed to, in correlation and working together like a little bit with Shaz, you've managed to pick up a trail. What's interesting is even though there is this, it seems to be this point-to-point instantaneous transmission, it appears that when there is that point-to-point, there is also like a beam or almost like a breadcrumb trail between the 2 points that you believe you can follow. Now again, the superstructure is massive. It's constantly shifting. It's like a giant honeycomb, right? Like they describe subspace. It's like a honeycomb of these tesseracts jumping around. But you believe, and if you so choose, you believe you will be able to locate the particular cube or tesseract that your missing crew are inside.
Of course.
I want to give you guys a moment to discuss the plan, Captain, for you to potentially give orders. Any other insight the rest of the crew would like to give?
So, sorry, just a question to the GM here. Can we bring the ship inside this thing when we're ready?
Yeah.
And okay, so we don't need to
I want you
figuratively
to
blow
imagine,
a hole into this thing.
No, I want you to imagine
Okay.
that you have modulated the shields in such a way.
Oh, so we just pass through it.
You would pass, exactly. So
Okay.
let's pass through it. More like imagine it is an actual like an actual honeycomb, and you are like you know how you can like sometimes like it can stick in a device and like pull out a bit of it. You would be like it's not forceful, but you'd be like a fist pushing through it, and it would then just close around you. It's almost like you are creating like a subspace bubble to pass through them. Does that make sense? You would just push it out of the way is the way you've modulated the shields.
Perfect. Okay. I still want Lieutenant Phelan to have those torpedoes ready just in case we need to make a point. But sorry, Shmani, I totally cut you off, so please.
Oh, my Lieutenant Phelan's suggestion would be that if we can, as you said, if we can follow that trail to their location, my Captain, my request would be to ready a strike team to beam to that location and recover the missing crewmen.
We will ready an armed shore party.
Aye, sir.
Shas, are the sensors ready?
The modifications are online, and we're beginning to launch periodic pulses from the deflector array in order to scan the entire subspace network.
When you're ready, I want you to begin feeding coordinates to the helm. I want this trail followed.
Of course, Captain. I would say that the order to ready the transphasic torpedoes, the facility is so large that it's unlikely that any weapon that we have would create a substantial disruption. You're aware of this, yes?
Yes, quite.
Very well. You may proceed when ready, Helm.
Your orders, Captain, says the helm.
I'm going to get to say the thing that the captain says that nobody likes. Helm, make way.
And we're going to cut to an exterior shot. Yes. As it moves towards the superstructure, and we watch as these tesseracts phasing in and out seem to gently
They're just voguing.
push away from it, voguing away from it as the ship passes in, and then it closes around the ship. Now, from the interior of the view screen, you guys would see these gray black structure tesseracts, sort of like almost washing off, like if you've ever gone diving, and as you dive in with your goggles, like jump in the water, you see all the bubbles like on your goggles. That's what it looks like, but it's all these tesseracts off the ship, and they're just kind of like flaking away, and you're following this trail deeper and deeper and deeper, and it seems like you are traveling deeper and deeper, likely towards the center of whatever this massive subspace superstructure is, right? I'd like to take this moment now to then pivot back to, spoiler alert, near the heart of superstructure, with my heart, where Lieutenant Commander Flitz, the young Ardal, is connected to all these tubes and wires and what have you. All this buzzing and whistling, but there is this metronome-like heartbeat. Thump thump. Thump thump. Thump thump. As you are going through all of the instruments, this is what we then return to that scene on, is her thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. And it is surprisingly calm, considering that you've come to realize that she is conscious and aware of where she is, completely unable to move. Situation.
So Flitz is gonna keep up a steady pattern, just patter of this is what he's doing. He's searching through this, checking these enzymes with that, trying to find some way to tie together the primary polaron reciprocating array of the scanning device that he's using to try and find something else out about, whatever. He's just, keeping up the steady pattern of what he's doing and keeping his voice as reassuring as he can.
Behind the altar, so you imagine all these rows of computer screens, this massive cathedral. Behind the altar where Ardal is lying, there is this massive throne that this Gruus is now sitting in. He has this red robe over his, like a hood, mechanical eye, a little bit of flesh mixed with machinery. And if you recall that finger drumming that likely he was doing with Shaz on this massive metal throne, you can hear this drumming of his fingers. It's like tink tink tink, tink tink tink, tink tink tink. And it has gotten quicker and more aggravated as time has gone on. You are disappointing me, Mr. Flitz. I would have expected you to come up with a solution much quicker, much more efficiently. I am beginning to think, Mr. Flitz, you are toying with me. And if you recall, we made an arrangement, an act of good faith. Is my faith misplaced in you, Mr. Flitz?
Flitz doesn't look up. He continues, but he does stop talking. He waits for him to finish, and then says, "How long have your people been working on this problem?"
There is a low, almost bestial growl from Gruus. And as he lets out this, just, you can tell he is biting his tongue not to lash out at you. You hear the faintest, weakest murmur from Ardal. Lieutenant Commander.
Yes?
I don't want to die.
Well, unfortunately, as a biological creature, that is more than likely your fate. But
Thump thump.
I do not
Thump, thump,
intend
thump, thump,
for it
thump,
to be anytime soon.
thump, 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 thump.
I'm sorry. I need to work on my bedside manner.
She draws in a weak, much shallow breath, but you can hear her heartbeat quicken, then very quickly slow down. And then you hear her start to whisper to herself, I see Lieutenant Commander Flitz. I see pillars. I see machine. And she starts to go through 5 things she sees, 5 things she can touch. She starts to steady her breathing. Continue,
Very
Mr.
good.
Flitz.
Very good. You are doing fine. I will get you out of here.
Slow nod.
He goes back to his just litany of what he's doing, and he's putting together a database of what the technology and biology of her people how they seem to differ. What I would like to do is inside of that database, I would like to include the most imperceptible mathematical errors that I could possibly place in it, but strategically placing them to where this mathematical error will compound a mathematical error 50 steps down the process to where it's like this matrix of utterly imperceptible errors that will lead to a chain collapse of whatever technology that he's trying to give them.
Ooh.
Also, while he's doing this, because he's a Soong type android and has tremendous processing power, he is also going to have his internal systems set up a detection system on the eyes that if any kind of flash like that happens, his visual processors will shut down.
Ooh, creating your own sunglasses. I love it. Ooh, sassy. I like it.
He's not messing around. So I will roll whatever is necessary to...
Here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you make a check. All right? Not going to be easy. Difficulty 5. However, you, as you're about to make this check, your comm badge creates a little bit of static. And you are smart enough to know that almost imperceptible amount of static is your comm badge reconnecting with the Erebus. You know that they are close. And I'm going to give you the advantage that they created simply because perhaps you are slightly inspired in this moment. You are an android, but I'm going to let you be a little inspired. So difficulty 5 becomes a 4. This is going to be a control engineering. Talk to me about what focuses you have.
My focuses are Starship propulsion systems, Starship power systems, Starship computer systems, theoretical experimental physics, and the Regent class starship.
Oof. Don't see a focus there.
Yeah.
Don't see a focus there. This is going to be a tough one, but you also have 6 momentum.
I also have... I would really like to argue my way into this being...
It's fine. You can do daring. It's fine. You could do daring.
I would rather do reason.
Okay, you could do reason. It's fine.
Okay. Excellent. My positive brain gives me 1 automatic success on all tasks. Reason.
All right. I'm way too nice of a game master. All right.
You are, and I'll never say that to you out loud again. Okay.
You're terrible, Wolf. You're so hot on us. You gotta.
You're the worst. All right. So we've got our Reason and engineering. Submit.
By the way, you guys are doing a great job tonight. Thank you for playing. Love you guys. Fun, great.
I'm gonna use 3 free momentum
Okay.
to get 2 extra dice, so that's 4d20.
Okay.
I have no focuses, but I do have 1 automatic success.
So you need 3 successes on these 4 dice. Oh! Failure.
Oof.
Do you have any options? You could spend your determination to re-roll those 2 dice.
I could spend my determination to do
What
that.
value will he call upon in the moment, in the hour, in the clutch? What's so nervous?
Okay, I don't have any talents that will assist in this. I'm going to use my Starfleet as my family value.
Ooh,
And
perfect.
knowing that Starfleet, like the ship is here. I know that they've come and I know they're here to save me. They are my family. I am theirs. We are all Starfleet. And anything I can do, they can do. It's all, it's the inspiration of knowing that there's somebody there having your back.
Except for
Even if you're
Shaz.
not an emotional creature,
Except for Shaz.
Except for Shaz.
Yeah.
But even then,
He'll shank you in the back first.
Yeah. But yeah, damn stuff.
we get along fine. We've never had any kind of beef. All right. Oh, all right.
You guys are delightful.
Reason and engineering. 2d20. Let's go.
There it is.
Let's go.
Zing. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. So that is a success with 1 momentum back to the pool. Fantastic job. Lieutenant Commander Flitz, you are able to correlate all of the data very accurately. However, you put in these little itty bitty 1-0 becomes a 1. Little inconsistencies throughout all of this massive amount of data that once whatever they do is implemented will have a catastrophic cascading failure, whatever they're trying to do themselves, which appears to be turning themselves into what the Ikal seem to be able to do, which is to adapt to whatever situation they find themselves in. Perfectly. Right? Absolutely perfectly adapt. Okay? As all of this is going on, right, there is this coughing, this kind of like wheezing that comes from Gruis. And it is in this moment, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, that you look back at him and you realize that this, perhaps you might have considered him this powerful mechanical man, looks incredibly frail, incredibly ill, actually. And as he coughs, you look out at all of the mechanical minions that have been working. They phase out of existence and then phase back in. And all at once, it becomes very apparent to you, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, that those minions you are seeing are not actually there. It is just Gruis that is there. It's Gruis. He's done a good job of hiding his apparent illness. But whatever is going on, it is starting to slip. Are you quite done yet, Mr. Mr. Flitz?
Indeed, I am only
Give it to me then. Give
checking
me
my works.
There's no time. Give it to me now.
Very well.
As the data
He pulls out a chip.
takes it, gobbles it down like a piece of toast. No, I'm just kidding. Takes it, inserts that chip into this tiny little nodule right at his wrist. He closes his eyes. We're going to phase back to Bridge of the Erebus. You guys have come to and crossed through this threshold. And you are now in the eye of this structure. I want you to imagine the eye of a hurricane. There is a singular tesseract, a great amount of empty space where you can see like across, and it's a bit of an optical illusion because you're only seeing tesseracts, but you can tell you're no longer in it. And there is a large kind of central piece, this like rotating tesseract spinning structure, kind of seems to be pulsing like a heart, right? Like this doom, doom, doom kind of thing. That is where the trail leads to. That is where the trail goes. What do you guys like to do?
Shas, in your opinion, is it safe to transport down?
Can I make an assessment of that based on the scans and readings that I'm taking?
Mm-hmm. It's a new scene, so you also have your free question if you want to ask it. And I would let you use it as part of the advantage you have. I mean, it makes sense.
Technically, that's only when I succeed with a sensors task or a tricorder. But hey, if you're giving me a free question,
I'm going to give you a free question, baby bird.
Okay, I will use it to pose that question.
I'm going to do it.
Okay. Is it safe to transport?
It is.
I believe so, Captain. If that's the case, we could potentially lock onto the signals of our missing crew members and simply beam them back.
Give that a try then, please. And, Commander Stern, can you be ready in the transporter room in case they need medical attention?
On my way.
Lieutenant Phelan, accompany her.
Yes, sir.
Then Sash sort of looks over at the captain. You didn't want me to try to transport them, did you?
I want you to feed the relevant data to Transporter Room 3.
Of course, Captain. And he will do precisely that.
As you travel to Transporter Room 3, you arrive there. And Commander Stern, Transporter Room operator, begins to lock onto the signals. You have to drop shields for a moment to do this. As shields are dropped, chat gave me some threat earlier. Okay? Chat gave me some threat. Lieutenant Commander Stern, how many pairs of sunglasses did you pass out? Was it just to the bridge crew? Was it to everyone on board the ship? Curious.
Great question.
You tell me. I will accept any answer you give.
It would have been the bridge crew, the original strike team that was supposed to go down. But if the strike team has now stood down, kind of as a last minute, oh yeah, give the pair a pair to the transporter.
Perfect.
And
person.
can I spend 2 points of momentum to create an advantage?
You may.
All right. And I probably don't need to spend this to do this, but I'm going to retroactively say that the captain ordered all off-duty personnel to general quarters.
Excellent.
So everybody that's not directly on duty is confined to quarters.
There is a alarm as soon as the shields are dropped that goes off. Intruder detected, intruder detected, intruder detected, and the size of your crew doubles with a multitude of duplicates of crew members. A similar captain to you appears in front of you. Lieutenant Phelan, another Phelan, Stern, Shaz, everyone. And I want you to imagine this kind of like brawl breaking out across the ship.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
axe hand, just double
like
axe
axe
handles.
hand, just going for it. All right.
Judo chops on the
There
knife.
is just a brawl that breaks
Flying
out.
double.
Okay. All the while, the transporter specialist is just in the process of engaging. Blitz, you are inside of this grand cathedral, inside of the heart of the Tesseract. The man, beast, mechanical man, has begun to do his evil madman laugh, right? And you watch as he starts to transform and looks like an exact duplicate of you, Lieutenant Commander Flitz. Exact duplicate of you. You have done quite well, Mr. Flitz. With these modifications, I shall return to the Ikal and eradicate the rest of them. My task, my glorious, holy task, the holy duty of the What is happening? What have you done? God, it burns. It hurts. And he starts to just scream. And simultaneously, all the duplicates start to scream. The captain is able to like judo chop the guy in the face. He falls over and just disappears, turning to like weird little like nanites, and then just evaporate. We got Lieutenant Commander Stern just freaking boxing. We got Phelan like tackling himself to the ground. We got Shaz over there having a philosophical debate with himself about how Starfleet sucks, and the other one's like, no, I think Starfleet's great. And then he just bursts into flames. Like, it's a whole thing. Right? It
convinces him he doesn't exist.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my god, I don't. Gone. This thing starts to freak out. From the bridge, you watch as the Tesseract starts to vibrate violently, and it's twisting and swirling, and these beams of light are starting to shoot out of it every which way, and it seems to start to expand, doubles in size, and it begins to implode in on itself. But on the transporter pad, Ardal, Lieutenant Commander Flix materialize. All of the subspace around you starts to go wild. And you see on every screen on the bridge a certain symbol appear.
Oh no.
Think you know what symbol that is?
No. Don't be that one.
It's that one.
Is it that one?
It's that one.
Perfect.
What do you do, Captain? What do you do, crew?
Well, the captain's going to issue his command code to unlock all the consoles on the bridge.
They're unlocked.
And he's going to order Shaz to scan. He's going to forward the information on the, I assume it's the Omega particle.
It is, yes.
To Shaz's console and order him to locate it.
It is at the heart of that structure.
And the captain is going to say, I am forwarding you specifications for containment device. I need it ready and brought to transporter room 1.
As he receives that information, can Shas determine whether the Omega particle is destabilizing at this very moment and is going to destroy subspace around us?
If you make a check.
Yes, can I do that?
You may make a check.
Okay.
Reason science. Difficulty of 2.
Okay. Just 1 second. Reason science.
Meanwhile, inside of the cathedral, no! Just freaking out.
Things exploding.
Flitz leans down to the girl and says, perhaps you should have let me check my work. And gives her a wink.
She is going to weakly look up, smile, and like she's like laying down, like she's like on her back, like maybe like on her side, right? And she'll just like reach out and like take his hand, like thank you. She just says thank you.
Of course, you are my crew.
Aw.
Matthew, I'm going to use my commanding officer ability to grant you my point of determination to reroll that.
Actually, I had 2 points of determination.
You do, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll spend the last point of determination that I have to re-roll that.
There you go. Perfect.
Just roll a d20.
Phelan, I'd like to imagine that you just just destroyed your duplicate.
Oh, 100%.
Like almost like brutally murdered him.
He just pulled a knife and started stabbing.
I was gonna say for my boarding action, I was gonna have my phaser in one hand and like a Klingon
dagger
in the other.
Oh, the mechlith, yeah.
He just went it down. Like there was not even a breath, and you're just on him. Like no.
Yeah.
No, I'm Philon.
No, I ain't having none of this.
You don't get to. Don't do my stuff.
Get wrecked, dude.
Was it a
You're gonna ruin my bowling scores.
Duck Tang?
Yeah, so the duck tag.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Did you re-roll? Yes, you got a 9. So that's a success. Perfect. So yeah, it's not gonna destabilize right this second, but you've probably got 30 minutes before it does. So it's not like right this second, but you've got time. It's gonna happen.
Okay. And based on that which I know of the Omega particle and the schematics that have been sent over to me with a quick perusal thereof, do I think we can actually implement that containment measure before it destabilizes?
Yes. It's not going to be easy.
Then he'll send down instructions to engineering and head down there himself.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Lieutenant Commander Flitz, I'd like you to assist this. And by assist, I mean do it. It's going to be a control engineering. It'll be a difficulty normally. I'm going to make this hard, okay? It'll be a difficult one. It'll be a difficulty 5. However, you have an advantage in this situation.
Mythical difficulty 5
becomes a difficulty 4. Okay?
Oof, nice. Okay.
It's a tough one, all right? However, I believe in you. Believe in you.
Is the ship assisting him?
Ship will absolutely assist. Absolutely. Mythical difficulty 5. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joss.
I was just going to say, Captain, you are in communication with him. I'm sure you could.
Oh, yeah. I could give him my point of determination.
I believe in him.
You said control engineering?
Yes.
Just don't like control, but okay. I am.
You know what? Sell me on reason. Do it.
And what exactly am I doing?
It's fine. Don't just go for it. It's fine. You're gonna reason your way into creating this new thing. I don't even care. I love it. I just want you to be happy, Drew.
I'm always happy.
I know. That's why I like playing with you.
When I'm playing RPGs with you, buddy.
Get out of here. Hey, sold the old hound dog.
All right, I'm gonna use a determination, or not a determination, a momentum.
Yep. This is difficulty 4, don't forget.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna use 2 momentum and give a threat.
You could also you could pop a determination, get 2 free successes, and spend those 2 to get an additional die and roll 3 dice with 2 successes already. Unless you want to live dangerously, I don't mind. I like dangerous.
Danger is my middle name.
It's
would
Lieutenant Commander Aloysius Danger Flitz.
Or would Starship propulsion, Starship power, Starship computers, or theoretical experimental physics, or the Regent class?
Experimental physics would work. I'll give you that one.
Sweet.
I am a benevolent game master, and that is a green. I see. Oh!
There you go.
Oh, damn!
There you go.
That's 5.
I just
plus
my
momentum
2.
right back.
I just
Plus
want to
my
say.
2.
I'm gonna shut up and let you talk, Drew. Plus your 2. And I just want to say, good fucking job. That's great, man. Well done. I don't know what to say. Well done. You are able to whip up this device in like 10 minutes. Like easy. Done. Simple.
Okay. So we're back on the ship.
Yep. You've created the device that the captain needed. Contain the Omega particle.
Okay, I deliver it to wherever it needs to go on the ship.
Yeah, the transporter room because the captain's got to go down there.
Captain, I have the device. I shall meet you in transporter room 2.
Thank you. Well, Shas, do you care to come with to get some readings on this up close?
I wouldn't miss it, Captain.
And well, I guess we'll take care of that then.
All right. You guys.
When you get there, Flitz is already standing on the transporter pad.
Ah. Coming along, Commander?
You may need assistance.
I love it. Is Lieutenant Phelan coming too?
I believe he would insist.
Love it.
Beaming on board a hostile
Fair enough.
ship.
You know, doctor, they might need medical
What about
attention.
the doctor? If we get radiation burns from this thing, we may need you.
I'm just saying. Are we doing
Do you
our
have
first
do
away
you have
mission with the
radiation
command
burns?
crew?
Yeah, everybody that is if they get lost, the ship is crippled. We'll all just go.
Yay!
We'll all just
Yay!
It's in the hands of the first officer. We'll be
The first officer's on the
Whoa,
bridge,
we're
like
not-
we're not
God.
gonna
sitting,
be fine.
sitting in the captain's chair, like I like this. This is nice.
He's like happy wiggle. Mhm.
All right. With that being said, you guys transport down. You find yourselves in the same cathedral room. All of the mechanical men that I described are gone. There are consoles exploding. The structure itself seems to be crumbling. And kind of like crumpled over, collapsed in front of the altar where Ardal was lying on and being experimented on, is the man I described. And the signal of this omega particle is coming from him.
I'll
Need
pull
it.
my medical.
What?
I'll pull my medical tricorder out
Beautiful.
and begin scans.
Captain, it seems that based on the tricorder readings that you're getting, Commander Stern, Shaw's, everyone's tricorders, he is the omega molecule. Like, he is it.
He's a sentient omega particle.
Correct.
Welcome to space.
Well, my orders are to neutralize the omega particle.
Believe me when
Yeah.
I say, Captain, he is quite a dick.
I will. Phelan will set his phaser to maximum.
Maximum kill.
Yeah. So just like full
The
vapor.
red.
Well, we shouldn't shoot the omega particle. That's
But you can't possibly shoot the man. He's helpless. That would be murder.
I'm this. And he goes to stand up and like his arm breaks off and like he like stumbles and then like slowly starts to rise.
Well, I've already
I'd be
quite
shooting an
succeeded in
unarmed
killing
man.
him.
Like I want you to imagine like General Grievous from Star Wars, like
Oh,
coughing,
God.
like yes, he's like leaning over, like coughing up weird
That's
like, oil blood.
I wouldn't worry too much. I have already neutralized his threat.
You think this will be the end of me?
I'm fairly certain, yes.
I am. I am inevitable.
Oh
I
boy.
am
Oh.
the destruction of all. He will consume everything. I am but a member, a small portion of the Centaurium. You and your pitiful little crew are marked. You, along with the Ikal, the Centauri, all of the species in this system, ends you. He will never stop until the mission is done.
He does like to go on.
Yeah. That's That's no bueno. We don't like that kind of talk.
I don't like that. That's not good at all.
And the captain just sort of looks at him and says, "You will find we take a dim view of genocide."
Well, some of you do.
You call this genocide? Do you call it genocide? When you crush insects in your home? You and your kind are but insects to mine. Filth. Invaders to an otherwise pure, what could be a pure existence.
Captain, may I shoot him now?
That would be highly unwise. I think we should try to stabilize him, given that he's a living omega molecule.
What are your orders, Captain?
Do what you can for him, Doctor.
As I come closer, I'll glance at the table and see what kind of medical equipment had been there, and it's like, okay, what were they working with? Like,
it's pretty advanced. Like some of it's advanced, some of it's really archaic. Like, no, please go ahead and ask your question.
Anything that I could acquire to further study later?
Make a note in your Discord
Okay.
profile. Centaurum Medical Technology. Make that note. And
damn, could we use this to save the Ikal?
I'm not saying a total savior, but this is definitely a piece of the puzzle.
Cool.
All right? Make a note in your Discord.
Okay.
And what I'm going to give you is in a future scene or session where you guys continue your work on trying to save the Ikal homeworld, this will create an advantage for you.
Cool.
The difficulty, so I want you to imagine like the difficulty to come up with like the solution is like a 6 right now, right? And every piece of technology you get will lower that down. I won't let you roll for it until it's below a 3. All right? You will get one chance to roll, and if you fail, failed forever. All right? That means that time runs out. You can keep waiting, right?
Okay.
I also have a timer in the back of my mind that's going that if you take too long, then time runs out. So it's going to be a balancing act. All right? It's going to be a balancing act. All right? But you've now ticked the difficulty down by 1. It went from a 5, I'm going to say 5 to a 4. So 1 more and you can start making rolls, all right? Or you can wait. It's up to you, right?
Okay.
But yes, you have a piece of the proverbial puzzle, and I love that you brought that up. So anything else, Lieutenant Commander Stern?
No, I guess I'll see how I best can stabilize him
Reason
without...
medicine, difficulty of 3. And xenobiology, 100%.
Or emergency
Don't
medicine.
you touch me, you filthy flesh and blood beast! You reek of infection and filth! Don't touch me!
And he can't do anything. He's just spitting up and like flailing with his one like weak arm.
Helpless as a little baby.
I've heard verse.
Your hair is ugly, and your face pale and disgusting, and you smell of fear and self-doubt.
Amazing.
He's running out of insults.
I know. I already forgot what I'm supposed to be rolling.
And your pants are so last season.
Yes, and your uniform is ill-fitting.
I'm aware it's Starfleet. What am I rolling?
Fuck, I don't remember. It was control medicine.
Okay.
Difficulty of 3. Xenobiology would suffice.
Okay.
And you do have a momentum if you want to spend it.
Your taste in music is pedestrian.
I scanned the files. You listen to an ancient Earth musician by the name of
Winger.
I can't even say it, it's so abysmal. Taylor Swift, you monster.
You're the problem. It's you.
Oh God.
Oh my.
I'm gonna
Now we
let you
have
finish.
we have bad blood now.
Let me just reel it back in, everybody. I'm super sorry.
Take a look what you've done, because now we have bad blood.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh. That's
so you
technically
need
a
to take that
failure.
bad blood, put
That's
it
a
into
failure
smoothies,
right now,
and just
Lieutenant
shake,
Commander
shake,
Stern.
shake, shake.
Unless you want to shake it off. Shake it off and use a determination like Phelan said
Yeah.
to re-roll that 0.
Okay.
Ooh. I'm dying right now. It's really funny. Ugh. Whew.
For determination, do I have to give a value?
Call
to
on a
it?
value to re-roll it. Yeah.
Um.
I would also suggest re-rolling both of them and spending momentum to roll 3 dice.
Okay. How about do some harm and take no shit?
Love it. That's such a good value. You're fucking badass up there.
So re-rolling both?
Yeah.
And then
Add 1 extra. You should have spent a momentum to do.
someone give me the momentum.
I'll
Yes,
give it to you.
control that.
Yeah, come on.
Nope.
Rule of cool, baby bird. Rule of
Nope.
fucking cool.
Let's get a couple complications. So his death is more horrid.
Okay. Ugh.
Oof. Oof. All right. So good news, bad news. Good news is he doesn't explode right now. Bad news, Lieutenant Commander Stern, you can't figure out how to fix him. He's gonna die.
We get +1 momentum when she failed that because of my backup plans.
Yep. But you can't save him. He's going to die. Beyond repair. Like whatever Lieutenant Commander Flitz did, he's not going to survive.
I'm sorry, Captain. This is the best I can do.
Yes, Captain. I'm sorry. I had to be thorough.
No, I understand, Commander.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Phelan, oh no.
There may not be a way to save his corporeal form, but is there a way to stabilize the particle?
Shaz? Is there?
Considering the technology that Commander Flitz has brought, we should be able to at least make the attempt. Although it has to be done quickly. We have very little time left.
Then let us proceed.
All right. Here's what we're going to do.
Got
Here's
to
what we're gonna
roll the
do.
challenge dice. Yeah, there we go.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let you guys sell me on whatever check you want it to be. It's got to be between Flitz and Shaz, though. You two will work together on it. Someone will make the check. Someone will assist. How do you want to make it? You tell me what you're rolling. Sell me on it. However, take note. Difficulty is going to be a whopping 3. I'm already giving you your advantage. It was a 4. It's now a 3. Complication range, 18 to 20.
I would say, for me, I would think it would be something like daring in science.
I like that. I like that.
Daring science or daring engineering?
Or
like
daring
it.
engineering, yeah.
And then whoever is assisting will roll. If we're going to do daring science, I'll let Flitz roll reason engineering. Because that's what Flitz is going
My
to do.
daring is 7.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll daring.
My daring's 8, but okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just giving it back to Shaz as he gives it to Starfleet, so it's fine.
So, Captain, provide me with some kind of stirring speech that will transfer your determination to me, expending yours in order to bolster mine.
Sucks to suck. And no,
That seems to be some kind of human aphorism, I suppose, Captain.
Oh,
It's
what you made him do.
remarkably
no.
effective.
Let's see.
If you guys fail this, it's going to be really fun to modify the map and be like, okay, these like 9 squares you can't
You
work
can't
through
get
anymore.
her.
Yeah, you can't get her anymore. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, I think, just don't fuck it up. That's all. Just
Yes.
don't.
Do it, or I'll lock you in a room with Phelan.
Why would
That
you
wouldn't be
punish
pleasant for
Phelan
either of
like
us,
that?
but
Like, why would you punish
See,
Phelan? What did Phelan do
and the
wrong?
commander.
so
Oh, yeah.
with that determination, I'll spend that to get 2 free successes. I'll just roll 2 dice straight. I think that what was it that I has a focus? Subspace dynamics, considering that this is something that ultimately cascades outwards into subspace and would destroy it.
Yes.
And
There's your 3.
Oh, Matthew,
There
you
we
are
go.
sassy.
There is your 3.
Mm.
Plus
Hold
2
on.
successes. That's
and
5.
Flitz. Yep.
And now Flitz.
Do it.
Let's go.
Do it. Oh, green
Oh,
success.
boy,
Money.
okay,
All
there-
right.
Plus, I get
So-
one automatic. I get 1 success for any reason. Also,
So that's 8 successes on a 3. Yeah, we got
I
this.
want you guys to look at how my eyes are now red. Is that pretty cool? Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys are on
that's
fire.
appropriate.
All right, fire eyes. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fire
I
eyes.
didn't mean to do it, and then it worked, and I was like, that's pretty sweet. All right, cool.
That's
But
pretty
anyway,
dope, yeah.
you realize that the Omega particle is not in the entirety of him, but is located where, if he was a humanoid, where his heart is. That is the Omega particle.
Well,
all right?
Let's get that out of
And
there.
you are able to
Kalima!
Kalima his heart out of him. His last words are,
Oh.
"We will never give up." Kalima! Place it into the containment vice. We're able to
We gotta
destabilize the
get
particle.
it.
And as this is all happening, the structure, though, continues to destabilize.
I was actually going to say,
Perfect.
we have quite a few momentum, and I was thinking of spending some kind of advantage, if that would be possible. Okay, then, given that we have just isolated the Omega particle itself, a consequence of that stabilization is that the subspace waves that it was creating and the destabilization of that subspace honeycomb is actually at least somewhat attenuated. It's lessened in its effect.
Ooh, okay. So let me ask you this. Are you suggesting, Matthew, that the
Coconut
structure itself does not collapse in on itself?
I think pieces of it remain probably trapped inside of our dimension.
So there is a rumbling, and from the bridge, the first officer would see that 99% of the honeycomb phases out of your reality. The heart and half a dozen structures that are orbiting it like moons around this massive central heart still remain. And on our map, we are going to now mark the Centaurum Cathedral, which is a location that will now be a persistent location in our map that we are exploring, in our sector that we are exploring of this galaxy. And it will be something that you guys can come back to, research, and leverage as the campaign progresses. And I think that's a brilliant idea, Matthew, and I love it. Absolutely. Does that work for you? Is that good?
That's pretty much exactly what I was going for, and
Awesome.
quite
Done.
frankly, I think we should just stay here for a couple of weeks and study this place.
So
But
Fine
that's
to
my
do that.
opinion.
Absolutely. That's great.
I mean, we're going to need to stay here for a little bit to just do an inventory and maybe, Shas, even though I can't spare you, you could get a science team together if there are volunteers who would like to stay here. We could leave a subspace beacon that they could stay in communication with the ship and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we'll leave them a Type 2 shuttle or something like that. And,
Yep, leave them.
yeah.
Leave them. I think we probably have a runabout.
What
I was about to say, do we have a runabout?
You absolutely do. You probably have like several. What I'd like to have this happen is I'd like you guys. I want to say this. Here's what I want this to do for you mechanically. Once every let's say 2 sessions, every other session, when you guys are in a situation that is a pickle, you guys can create a free advantage based off of the data that you pick up from the Centaurum Cathedral. Does that sound fair? Is that interestingly enough? I feel like it's powerful, but it's not like game breaking. But like every other session, you guys can create a free advantage from the research you get from the team. And then after a certain point, you'll have like maximized your, I don't know how long, but after a certain point you will have maximized your research. But I'm gonna let it last for a while. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that seems really
Yeah.
good.
Is that
Yeah.
good? All right,
I like
perfect. All right. So you guys stabilize the structure, which I think is fucking sweet, by the way. Great idea, Matthew. And you have this awesome resource you can use in moving forward. You also have a piece of the puzzle to save the Ikal. I'd like to open up to the group any final scenes that anyone would like to have with each other or anyone else before we kind of get to the tail end of today's session.
I'm just gonna have the captain add another thing to his shelf. The UV goggles, the
That
virus
is
glasses.
absolutely brilliant. Our final scene, then, unless anyone has anything, and if you think of something as I'm explaining this, it's fine. We're gonna go back to the medical bay.
Okay, good.
We're gonna start where we're gonna end where we started. All right. We have Ardal on the bed, sitting, listening to her heartbeat, and actually, let me start that. She's listening to your heartbeat, Lieutenant Commander Stern.
Okay.
And she says, that man, that monster, Lieutenant Commander Stern. That was one of the creatures that attacked my homeworld. He didn't look the same, but I could hear the tempo of his heartbeat. I knew that it was him. It was one of them, and I fear there may be more. But even still, I wasn't afraid. I did as you taught me. I counted things in the room I could see, things I could touch, things I could smell, and I focused on my breathing.
Very proud of you.
And very thankful that you came back to us. Now, when you feel up to it, I will tell you the story of what happened to my colony. And why I too still fear who did it to us and what I am currently doing to get past that fear.
Takes the stethoscope from her ears, sets it on her lap, and simply leans in and hugs you. And I think our final scene is her embracing you if you choose to embrace back. She's hugging you. And we just, no music, nothing, just the two of them embracing. Screen fades to black and credits roll. And I think that's a great way to end the session. Wonderful job, everyone.
Yeah,
It's a
fantastic.
great job. That was a lot of fun. You guys are just fantastic. I can't thank you enough. Good job, everybody. Did you have a good time? Did you like this session? Is it good to be back?
Absolutely.
Very much.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Great to be back.
Awesome, guys. So, well, as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns, my friends, before we get ready to wrap up today's session 6?
No, none.
Good to be back.
Good game, guys.
No, yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
right.
good one.
Fantastic.
As I always say, thank you so much to the players for playing. Truly, I've mentioned it several times. Without you guys, this is impossible. And you are fantastic. And I'm loving what we're doing here. So thank you guys. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a like, follow, whatever you want to do, or tell me to go F myself. It's fine. But don't tell them to go F themselves because they're amazing. Happy gaming. We'll catch you next time in 2 weeks. And as I always say as well, the dice have a story to tell. And every session, we find out what that story is. And this week it was, you guys are badass, as it often is. But until next time, be well, be safe, and we'll see you around.